Can't just take things on face value in this world, else you'll just be hoodwinked all your life. This family, the Amanita family, it is the deadliest family on the planet. It ain't going to kill you. It can make you sick, but there's also beautiful medicine in there. It's got that balance inside of it. As my body acclimatized to the new compounds and medicines and the new spirits in me, then the magic started to happen. There was always still that little niggle at the back here of if there was something that stressed me or whatever, I still had that feeling to reach for a drink. That mushroom took that away from me. And I will be forever grateful to these beautiful mushrooms for that. Amanita processed in a different way. We create a painkiller out of it. We can take the pain away without blowing holes in your liver. The ORAC ratings is for antioxidant. This has got 200 times more than like blueberries, and we call blueberries a superfood.
Welcome to the Drake Michigan podcast, and we've got the very lovely Kate and Matty from Mama's Cottage Mushrooms with us today. I was very fortunate. Are you Matty?
Kate and Matty.
I was really fortunate to meet you guys last year at a Carry On camping event, and that's how we got to know each other. We kind of were situated in the healing area, I think, and it was a lovely.
Yeah, I think we bonded over some chocolate, didn't we?
Mate, that chocolate sent me over the edge for about 8 hours, I think. But it was one of those moments where I think I needed to battle some inner demons. So it was.
Yeah, that's what I'm here for, man.
It's valuable stuff. Well, this is the thing. So this is what this podcast is going. You're going to be telling us all about, obviously, plant medicines and things like that. And there's going to be a lot of knowledge in this podcast. So I'm looking forward to learning more.
Okay.
But I always, as I mentioned off camera, I always like to talk to our guests and find out a bit more about them as individuals, and learn a bit more about you to why you end up on these journeys. Now, you guys have come together, but that was a chance meeting, wasn't it?
Nothing's by chance, Sam.
Well, no, nothing is, no.
Yeah, me and Kate met in the bargain aisle of Lidl.
Lidl? Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Great.
The only smiling faces in a masked building.
Oh, so it was during the crazy season?
Yeah, during hibernation, yeah.
Yeah, okay. So what happened? Tell me.
Well, Kate, you want to go?
It was quite funny, really. It was pretty hot weather, and I was sat at home. I've got 2 young children, and they were then at school. They're not now. I've taken them out of school. I home educate them now. Best thing ever. Challenging, but best thing ever. And this little voice in my head was saying, "You got to go food shopping." I was like, "I don't want to go food shopping." It's like, "No, you got to go food shopping." I'm like, "But I don't want to go food shopping." So I was having this internal dialogue going on, and I was like, "Okay, well, I'm going to go," because you listen to that little voice in your head, don't you? So there I was, potting along with my little trolley, and then going down one aisle, and then coming across this way was Matty. We just kind of like not collided, but our paths were just crossed. And like Matty said, neither of us were wearing those face nappy things. And I was like, "Oh, it's a naked face," and we just hit a conversation, and then he followed me to check out, then followed me to my car.
No, it didn't.
And as they say, the rest is history. The next day we went for a walk with the cat.
Yeah, the cat came for the walk.
Nice. Okay.
We've got some strange looks in the quarry by us, which is a big park.
Was the cat on a harness then?
Pardon?
Was the cat on a harness?
No.
Just wandering around with you?
Yeah, he was my little brother. I lost him last year, actually, mate. But
I'm
beautiful,
sorry to hear
man.
that. Oh,
yeah, it's just one of them, mate. One of them.
Yeah. Oh, so you went for a walk?
Yeah, I went for a walk, and then one thing led to another, and we just got talking. There was a lot of common things, like someone else like prawn and cocktail crisps, like me. So You know, lots of little things that we had in common, and both was like going, well, this is a bit weird, that there's a lot of similarities. Also with past stuff and traumas that we've been through as well, there was an awful lot of similarities along there as well. And and then we just started on the mushroom journey. We just kind of fell into it, really, just to help Matty's dad.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So your dad wasn't very well at the time, and
It wasn't really very well, Anne. He was just getting a bit forgetful and repeating himself a little. So I'm thinking, I really need. I was just asking, help me, universe, before he goes to the doctors. Yeah. And then at the time, I was part of a men's spiritual group. We just meet up once a week. What each one of us should choose what we do that week, and it was really nice, man. Obviously during that hibernation period as well. So it was good to get together. Really good to get together. Yeah. And one of the chaps, Raoul, he said, "Oh, I've got a friend with a permaculture project, Janta. Should we go up there for the day?" So I was like, yeah, let's go up there. It'd be nice. Be nice to see what's going on and learn. So we all got up there. It's a beautiful day, and Janta's got a beautiful, beautiful permaculture place. He's got an old roundhouse on there. It's stunning. And so we got up there, met Janta, and then he went, "Oh, and this is Radu, the mushroom man." And he walked out with a tray of lion's mane. And I was like, "Thank you, universe, for that gift from my father."
Wow.
So yeah, it's
Did you have knowledge about lion's mane at that time then, or did you have to study?
A small amount, mate. To be fair, a small amount, and I'd learned online about it basically. Because I was looking for answers from my dad, really, because I could see the bits of dementia popping in.
Right. Okay.
And, with lion's mane, it's got some very unique compounds in there where it can. There's not many substances that the body will let pass into the brain, like the blood-brain barrier. It's very defensive of it, but there's certain compounds in lion's mane where it'll let it across, and that's where we get to work with that beautiful medicine within that default network of the brain that fails due to us being polluted by heavy metals, mainly aluminium.
Right. Yeah. Falling from the sky.
Pardon? Yeah, falling from the sky. Yeah, definitely, right.
With everything else.
With everything else, yeah, exactly. What about yourself, Kate? Were you well versed in mushrooms when you met Matt, or is this a completely new kind of project at that point, a study?
It was, the mushroom side was all new to me because I've got the background in herbs. My mum brought me up homeopathically, and I treat my own children homeopathically and myself homeopathically, and so I just had the connection with having the knowledge that the herbs were certainly there to help, and so it just was a natural progression from moving from the herbs to the mushrooms because it's still all coming from Mother Nature. So I already had that connection with Gaia, just with all the healing aspects and the potential of what can actually be brought into the human body just to help and heal and avoid the pharmaceuticals with a large pole, really. So it was nice to have the unionship with bringing the herbs and the mushrooms together, really.
Yeah. So you've had an upbringing then in terms of that alternative, kind of looking for that alternative natural resource rather than a synthetic option.
Absolutely.
That's kind of,
definitely very blessed. Thanks to my mom, because my father was dead against it. My father made my mom burn all her spiritual books. That's real old ways, isn't it? She had a bookshelf. She still had many books. She loves her books, and she had many spiritual and personal development books. She's now she's in her 70s now, so this is going back probably about 40 years, I would say. And he made her burn all the books, every book that was either deemed witchy or herbal or spiritual. He made her burn all of them.
So there's a lot of fear there then from your dad's side.
From his side, yeah, absolutely. He's passed, so he's learning his lessons. Bless him. But yeah, he lived in constant fear, and it was that killed him really at the end of the day, I believe. But yeah, so it left Mum with an awful lot of healing as well, from being made to do things like that, which she strongly believed in, and she still does. She's still very, very spiritual, and she gets the alternative ways now. But she's had an awful lot of big health issues herself, and she's chosen to go down the medical route in the hospitals and things, and that's her choice. You know, everyone's on their own journey, aren't they, making their own choices and their own decisions, sometimes out of fear and being alone, and that's okay. You know, but that's everyone's choice, isn't it? So yeah, it was a lot of fear. I didn't know that at the time. It wasn't until I was a lot older that Mum told me that he told her to burn all the books.
Right. Okay. So in terms of your, I'll ask you first, Kate. So in terms of your childhood, did you were obviously taken in with the natural way, which is a wonderful thing. Were you kind of having some kind of spiritual awakening early then, in or were you just in that world, immersed into that world of natural, rather than actually looking around at some point, you know, and putting the they live glasses on as they do and going, what the hell am I actually in? Did you have any kind of boom moments, if that you know, in terms of your awakening, or was it just how you are?
Well, do you know what, Anne? That's a really good question, because you hear a lot with people going, oh, when I had my spiritual awakening, or, you know, this is how my spiritual awakening happened. And I was like, and it's made me really reflect and think about it. And I think I'm really one of the privileged ones. You know, I was brought up from very, very early of being around spirit and working with spirit. I've got family members who do trance mediumship. So I was open to it from a very, very early age. So I always knew that there was more to this flesh and bones that we have. I always knew that it was okay to see, hear, and talk to other beings. That was normal for me. It was normal to see elementals out in nature. So do you know what? And I'm thinking, well, everyone else has had this spiritual awakening. Why haven't I had a so-called spiritual awakening? But I think you've just said the answer to yourself. You know, it's always been part of me. I've always had it of all my life. And it's only just from having this conversation with you right now that I've just come to realize that. And so I feel very fortunate that I haven't had to go through something to have a spiritual awakening, because it's always been there. And I've always questioned in my own mind, even from a child, that, you know, well, why is that happening? And why can't people see this? And why don't people understand that the way that I understand it? Or I've always had that. And I think that's why I was such a loner when I was going through school. And then I went off the rails big time when I went in college, completely went off the rails.
Did you?
Yeah, definitely. So it's interesting, isn't it, when we start to actually observe the past and reflect on it and not live in it, that you actually start to understand it as well. So yeah, the spiritual awakening never happened to me because it's always been part of me.
That's a wonderful thing. I mean, what, in terms of like growing up then, you said you had a bit of a lonely experience then. Did the children around you not understand you then, do you think, because you saw the world differently?
I reckon so, because I wasn't a girly girl when I was at school, and I didn't fit in. I was just quite happy by myself. I'm an only child, and I'm quite happy just to muck around in nature by myself and not have to please everyone or pretend I'm someone else just to fit into a group. That was never me. So I just kind of bumbled along, really.
Was that difficult for you? Did you wonder sometimes, well, why are they, or, you know, why are they not taking me in, or understanding who I am? Did that ever cross your mind when you were growing up?
Yeah, it did. I did get in a couple of fisticuffs about it once.
Did you?
Yeah. I did, yeah. Just for standing up to myself. That's all it was. It wasn't out of anger. It was just standing up for myself, and that's just, you know, you're going through puberty. You're finding out who you are, and I was into martial arts, and that's kind of why I lashed out.
You're messing with Kate then.
No, don't
You
mess
know
with
you're
my
okay.
Shakespeare. And still to this day, don't mess with me.
I like it. I like it. What about yourself, Matty? When you were growing up, did you have any kind of awakenings, or was that later on?
Do you know, it's thinking about it now. There's a yes and a no in there, right? Okay.
Yeah.
So when I was a kid, we grew up in a very small house originally, like a council house sort of thing. And then Dad did really well for himself, really, really well for himself. So we ended up in a nice house in the country. So I spent a lot of time in the woods on my own, really. So I guess I didn't have as much of that indoctrination and programming as most kids, because I got to spend so much time in nature.
Yeah.
And then I guess on from that is when I was getting to around 11 or 12, I hung around with the older lads. So I tried LSD at 11 years of age.
11? Wow.
Yeah. So I would say that kept me very open without me even realising, if you get what I mean. So I didn't get closed off enough to go, oh, bloody hell. You know, I've woken up again.
Understand. Yeah, no, I can understand that. I think I was 16 or 17. And I remember the experience hugely because I remember being different the following morning. I believe that I grew up overnight.
Okay, yeah, I get that.
I was a very young boy, if you like, and then I had that experience, and then the following day, I was a different person. And I do remember. I remember the change. I do remember that change. So at 11, I can imagine you're in a completely different reality then.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Completely. So it really enhanced that. But after that, I sort of got pulled into that corporate world.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I really did. I ended up at uni. I studied architecture. So I ended up working, in that industry. So I was really in the nest, to be fair, really deep in the nest.
Yeah.
And even I remember being about 24, 25, and I was working at one of the top architects in the Midlands, and sitting there and thinking, this ain't right. This is not you. You're surrounded by liars. They tell lies to make money, and I couldn't deal with it anymore. So I quit.
So you connected to your soul very early.
Yeah. I think so, mate. I think I don't know. Yeah. So I just quit. And I ended up working with my dad, actually. We had a construction business for a few years. Dad had been in construction for 40 odd years. So we came together and worked together for a few years and that. And then we ended up in the pub trade as well.
Did you?
So, so drinking that alcohol, that body-eating spirit, the thing that takes your vibration down. But I didn't know any better. I really didn't know. Mate.
But, part of the journey,
I actually... I beat myself up about it years later when I realised what I was doing to people when I was serving alcohol to them. But then a friend of mine, Bo, he said, no, Matt. He says, that's not right. That's just what you're saying. He said, but you were making people smile and you were healing them. Even though there was alcohol involved, you were still putting a smile on people's faces. So that gave me a different mindset on that.
Yeah.
So I ended up in the pub trade for a good 10, 15 years. Then I went back to architecture, but working just for me. So I wasn't having to be around them others. And that was okay, but it still wasn't correct inside. And then I ended up trying DMT. And that is what blew my absolute head off and my world apart.
Literally.
Yeah. Yeah, it really was.
Tell me more. Tell me about your experience on that.
At the time, my two closest and oldest friends, Dave and Joe, Dave gets in contact with both of us and says, I've made some DMT. Do you want to come and try it? And I'm like, yeah, of course I do. So Joe comes and picks me up and we went down to see Dave down in Coventry. And I treated DMT like any other drug.
Yeah.
So like cocaine or speed or, you know, them sort of level of things. So I treated it like that, and it kicked the shit out of me. Terrified me to the point I thought, you know, I remember being in it and thinking, you've done it, mate. It's game over. You've done it this time. And like I said, absolute terrifying experience. But it's what I needed. It's what I needed as a lesson. And when I come back round and realised I wasn't dead, I was so thankful for it. That's when the magic started to happen.
Really?
I remember heading back. Joe was driving back and sitting in the car and thinking, I feel totally different. What's going on there?
Right.
And then the birds are having a dance on the roof thing. And then the next day, waking up and going for a walk and feeling everything. Feeling every tree, every blade of grass, just nature, feeling all the nature and being like, wow, this is beautiful.
So you started to connect then? This
is where I want to stay forever.
Right.
So I've kept that there. And from being so... my lesson from that experience with DMT was learning the difference between a drug and plant medicine. And I had to learn the hard way because I'm a stubborn git. So that's why I put it... Yeah, you're laughing at me. So that's why it had to go that way.
Okay. And can you explain in terms of the difference then?
Within me?
In terms of, you know...
It took all them silly thoughts away, the chatter in the mind, any anger, any aggression. It went. It was gone, mate. Yeah, it was beautiful. It's beautiful. So I'd take that terrifying experience any day to have that. And we all, you know, it's the same story. The trauma comes first and the beauty after, man.
So it stripped everything.
Oh, yeah. It took it all away. Absolutely took it all away. You know, I grew up in that rave culture, and I'm sure you did as well.
Yeah. I mean, I was a rocker, but a lot of my mates, you know, I'd still join them on the occasions, you know, and the pills flying around everywhere and coke and this and the other. And, you know, I wasn't completely, I was more into my psychedelics, I think, at that time. But anyway, because Jim Morrison was my biggest hero, and I was into all the sort of 70s psychedelic rock at that time.
Yeah, man.
But the guys that I hung around with, they were all into the rave scene.
Yeah.
Even though I was different, I still joined them on that because I was a bit of a chameleon. And I wasn't much for those drugs either, I must admit, whereas, you know, that was going around a lot. Yeah. But I understand I want you to explain it better than I can, but I do understand the difference in the respect from a synthetic drug to help you or to put you in a mindset of party mode to what an actual natural plant medicine is.
Let's just talk about the energies, in the difference in the energies first of all. You know, the pharmaceutical industry. We don't even need to talk about a drug. We can talk about something like aspirin, if you like, because it's all the same thing.
Yeah, absolutely. You know,
aspirin comes from the willow tree, comes from the bark of it. The natural aspirin does, but they'll take that, then they'll copy it and create their own version of it, the synthetic version of it.
Yeah.
And it might look the same on paper, but to nature, it's not the same. And to our bodies, it's not the same because we are nature.
Exactly, we are,
pushing these synthetic things into it, there's always going to be resistance, always, and then there's always going to be side effects in the body because of it. Because you don't want it in there.
Well, your body's trying to heal itself, isn't it? And then you've got something going in there that it's trying to heal from again.
It's forced. It's completely forced, and it doesn't like it. Or, you know, you look at painkillers or paracetamols, you know, they just turn parts of your brain off. You know, they're already trying to turn enough of our brains off with sat-navs and mobile phones and the rest of it. So let's not turn any other bits off voluntarily. Come on, when nature's got what we need anyway, and it's had it for millions of years. And it's only the last 100 years we've been hoodwinked by these industries, isn't it?
Well, yeah, because the knowledge has been removed, hasn't it? And then you're
Yeah,
re-educated, aren't you? And that's what we do, is re-education for that purpose of control. So
totally, mate. Yeah.
So how did you from these experiences then? Because this is a few years ago, I'm presuming. You guys clearly had
mate,
you weren't in each other's consciousness at this time. You were
No, me and Kate have only been together 2 years next month.
Ooh.
So you got that right.
Wow. Well,
but we've sat with a friend of ours, Touchy Sky, who's I will call him a shaman because he is, and there's not many people I would give that word to because it's a very, very highly respected word, and it's thrown around too much.
It's thrown around an awful lot.
It's crazy land, you know. I'm seeing online courses to be a shamanic healer. It's like, no, people, come on. You need to be gifted it or have it in your blood.
Yeah.
So yeah, we've sat with Touchy Sky, a shaman friend of ours, and basically we've done this together in past lives many times.
I saw it before we sat with
and Kate had seen it herself.
You'd seen it yourself. How did that experience come about, Kate?
It was a past. I'm quite comfortable with past lives, about accessing past lives information, and I can't remember the whole situation around it, but there was an occasion that I was sat and the past life of Matty and I came up, and it was in an era. So we were together, and the era was when the ladies wore those really big heavy skirts with a pinafore, and the guys were generally riding horses around. Mm-hmm. And it was a time when we were using nature as medicine, and we kind of got ostracized from the village because of what we did with the nature and producing medicine. So we lived way away from the local village, making medicines, and either message came to us about someone that was ill, where we'd make up a medicine, and they would either someone would come and collect it, or Matty would go on his horse to go and deliver this medicine. So it was a very solitude life that we had. It was beautiful, very open nature out in the countryside, a little hut as well. It was beautiful. And then there was, we were making this medicine for somebody, and Matty had to go and deliver it. And it's like about a day's ride away, where we had to go and take it to wherever we had to go and deliver it. And he went and took this medicine, and he never came back. And it was he got killed because of who he was, of what he was doing. And then I died shortly afterwards from a broken heart. So yeah, that's definitely one past life that I have seen, that we've had. I'm sure if I sit, then there'll be plenty more that will be revealed, for sure.
Yeah. It's mad how we seem to be actors, all of us actors on this stage.
Yeah.
And we seem to be. I mean, I had a past life regression recently, which is on our channel as well, and that was really interesting. And it was like the 3 lives that came up were almost all relevant to what's going on today, and the reasons why I am the way I am, and the passion that I have for people and what's going on, etc., etc. It was quite interesting, but it's like we are repeating stuff, aren't we?
Yeah, of course we are, mate. Yeah.
Don't go riding off and leaving me dying with a broken heart again.
I ain't got a horse yet.
I don't do that shit again. But yeah, I'm fascinated by the whole past, and it's coming up a lot actually in some of our conversations with people. You know, we had a gentleman last week who was a Buddhist. You know, so again, he was a former Buddhist, but he, you know, we talked about the past life thing as well. You know, that it's becoming more less looked upon or frowned upon, really, as an actual potential of reality in our life, or our previous lives. Even it's interesting.
It's also with past lives. I mean, I've been there myself. That it can be such a rabbit hole to go down that people can become quite obsessed with finding out what their past lives are. And they continue then to live in the past and not recognize what the life patterns are. So the whole point of doing past life regression and finding out what or who you were in a past life is to heal the present. You know, it's very easy. And I've seen it so many times of people going to have a past life regression, want another one, and want more explanation and more explanation. And it's not about that. It's about recognizing the patterns and accepting of who you are, so you can move on in this plane.
In this one.
Because we have parallel lives, you know, we are living a life elsewhere, somewhere else, you know, that's where we're walking on the ground, that we have our other self underneath, you know, and it's a really interesting thing to work with, and it is to be used as a tool. It's not to be used something every day and go obsessed about, because it's very easy to get obsessed about it because of the attraction of finding out all the past stuff, but it doesn't really serve us, if that makes sense. You have to just accept it, recognize it, and then move on from it.
Yeah, I'm with you on that, because you could easily get wrapped up in the ego of it all, really, in terms of going, well, I was such a person in a past life, and looking
and this whole thing as well, with people saying, you know, I was Jesus, or I was Mother Teresa, and blah de blah de blah de blah de blah. You know, we've all met them, that I was Mother Teresa and the Mother Magdalene in a past life and whatever. Well, that's very great. So what's the lesson from it? You know, it's not, you can't embrace that because that was in the past, you know, and also you question who is actually doing the reading for you as well, if it's come from ego, because all these big names like, I was Buddha in a past life. Well, hang on a minute, let's just question that. And that's the whole thing of a lot of what we do, particularly when we do our talks, is getting people to really, really question. And I'm sure you know yourself, Anne, is people just question and ask everything that you come across.
Yeah, definitely. It's about now, isn't it? There's nothing else but right now. So whatever a past life is, or even what happened yesterday, it's a story that you can use to help benefit your progression, and any kind of troubles that you're facing as well, any challenges that you have, because we all have them, don't we? So
absolutely,
of course.
And that's part of growth, isn't it, and part of learning. So and so regarding yourself then, Kate, did you go to college? Did you say you went to any kind of further education, or did you go into work?
I was living by myself when I was doing my GCSEs, so that's going to be what, 15 years old, I think. 15, so so I was living by myself when I was doing GCSEs. I got through those, which was quite miraculous, really.
It is if you're on your own.
But I was having for breakfast just after that JD and speed quite in copious amounts.
Really?
Yeah.
So that was an early age. So that was like what, 15, 16?
Yeah, probably say just after I left school. I was definitely smoking, and I was smoking the green. And then when I left school, then I started the diet of JD and speed, which kind of life was quite, because I did go to college and did psychology. I did psychology and biology.
So you were doing that with your breakfast.
Yeah, I was. Yeah. Definitely. I fell out with the art designer because I was the only female, and I'm sure he was anti-female, so I fell out with him and walked out. But where my college was that I went to, there was a lot of pubs around the college as well. So come lunchtime, I was often enjoying extracurricular activities from lunchtime onwards. And I was still living by myself, so I had no parents to go back home to reprimand me thinking of alcohol and doing things that I shouldn't really be doing. But that was that. So yeah, I kind of got into a bit of a bad bunch. Well, not a bad bunch. It's not a bad bunch, but you learn, don't you? So I was having lots of fun.
Yeah, but that's just it's just learning, isn't it? You know, it's life's just a journey, isn't it? There's no a destination as such, is it? It's just a progression, and
Exactly.
yeah. So where did that take you then from there? Did you get married, have kids? Did you go
No, I went
forward?
traveling for 11 years.
Did you?
I got cleaned up. I was really wrecking my body a lot.
And you
I
recognize that obviously that it was affecting you physically.
I was a horrible person. I was a right bitch. I was horrible.
Right.
I was horrible to myself. I was horrible to everyone around me. I was on self-destruct, big time self-destruct, because my parents had divorced, and I felt at that time that my mom wanted nothing to do with me because I wasn't living with her, even though that's not the truth, because now I learn. And the father abandoned me, and I was like, well, good riddance to him. So I went off on my merry way and started traveling for 11 years, going from job to job, which was great fun. And then I recognized that I was just running away. I kept running and running and running and running and running and running. And so when I came back, and then I was still drinking at that point. And then I was living with my mom. I was working in the UK. And then I was in my 30s, and I thought, oh shit, I'm going to be left on the shelf here. Maybe I should do what everyone else is doing, get married and have kids.
Okay.
What a fool. But again, it's all part of your journey, isn't it? It's all part of your learning.
Of course.
So yeah, I went down to Devon and got married and had two children, 2 daughters who you've met. They're awesome. And then I had when I was pregnant with Ira, who's now just turned 12. When I was pregnant with her, I think that's when something clicked inside me, thinking, what the fuck am I doing?
Really? Yeah. So then it was like, come on, let's make some decisions exactly what path I should be on.
Well, on my wedding day, I was thinking, what am I doing? Why am I doing this? And I could have easily have walked out, but then because I didn't want to upset anybody, I went through with it.
Yeah, I get that. And I think a lot of people would do that, though.
I
don't think you're on your own with that.
Yeah, and then when I was pregnant, when I had Bo, when Ira was about 2.5 and Bo was 18 months old, I got Bell's palsy, and that was the catalyst of me then thinking, do you know what? I freaking hate my life here. I hate who I've become. I don't like it, and this is no life. I'm not going anywhere, and it's slowly killing my soul. It's really starting to. It's a slow death, and if I don't change it, then I'm just going to become dead inside, and I need to do something for my kids. So it was by having the children, which were the catalyst for me to then leave and divorce and move away from Devon and come back home to Shropshire, because Shropshire was where I grew up, and it's beautiful, it's surrounded by nature, and Devon was never really my home. So I think from doing that, even though it triggered a lot of things in me, it was the beginning of me really embracing who I'm becoming.
Right. Okay. Were your kids in school? Were they doing the sort of like what you would call classes, the normal way?
Yeah, they were. It never felt right for them to go to school. I was thinking, why am I handing over 2 amazing souls to somebody who is just doing a job and just getting paid for it? Do they really care about my kids? And so I remember that, but being in the marriage I was in, there was absolutely no support from my beliefs and what I wish to do, even like from having this silly baby injections and all that sort of stuff. I had to really fight to Bo didn't have the MMR because Ira became really sick when she was little from having it, but I really had to fight for her not to have it. Because I was by myself with my thoughts and my opinions and my beliefs. So they only came out. Go on.
Sorry, Kate. I mean, you spent a lot of your time alone growing up, and then you're on your own again, really, with your thoughts and beliefs, even though you're actually with somebody as such. Even though some of the times when you're in a relationship, the wrong relationship is the most loneliest time.
Mm.
But you're having
Yeah.
to make those decisions, aren't you? And that's a difficult place to be.
Mm. Yeah, it was, but you have to, I think because of my upbringing, having that connection with spirit, it's that got me through, because I was listening to what was in my heart and what felt
Brilliant.
right, which
Great.
gave me the energy to keep on going.
Yes. The fact that you can hear that though as well is great, because, and you know, I know from my own personal experience, sometimes I don't hear it. You know, sometimes I have to take stock. I have to sit back for a while, and life can get so busy sometimes. I'm not listening. I don't see the signs and things like that. You know, so the fact that you were able to listen to the messages that are coming to you is a great thing, really. Credit to you. What about yourself, Matty? So were you so from your DMT experience, were you still in the pub trade?
No, what was I doing then? No, I was doing a bit of drawing work, a bit of architectural work then, just for myself.
Right.
And then I just grew away from it. Wasn't interested anymore. And then just I didn't really do a lot for a few years. Then I was all right. I was already comfortable enough to just find myself, I guess.
Yeah. What about love interest? Did anything materialize over that period, or was your new awakening of the world causing issues with relationships?
No, I'd been on my own for quite a bit then at that point, which was a blessing, really, wasn't it? But yeah, that really allowed me to grow within myself and spend time with me, which is a rarity for most people in this world, to be fair.
No, yeah, definitely. Yeah.
So yeah, I had a few years of just doing as I pleased, really, and finding myself. And then the chance meeting happened. Well, no, so
are you both in Shropshire then at that point then? Are you both living in Shropshire?
Yeah, I was in Shrewsbury. Kate was in Church Stretton.
Right, okay. And then, like you say, there's no chance, there's no coincidences in life, is there? These things are meant to be.
You know, everything I'd done beforehand, there was always resistance in it, and everything, you know, any trade, there was a resistance for me to grow within it. So that's the universe going, no, not for you, mate, not for you at all. But it's only now I can see that, I recognise it from what we do now.
I know what you mean. You get pushed into areas, don't you?
Yeah. I'll be straight with you. I went into architecture because I thought, you know what, if I do that, I'll be all right.
Yes,
because that's that money-driven part of you that we're taught.
Of course, that's our conditioning, though, Matty, isn't it? That's what we're our whole world growing up. Obviously, Kate's fortunate, really, because she didn't have that. But it's like you're pigeonholed in. This is the way that life should be. You go to school, you leave school, you do as you're told, by the way, and wear the same shit and put your hand up to go for a piss and whatever. And then you go to work for 9 to 5 or shift work or whatever it is. You're exhausted for a few quid.
You're just busied all the time as a slave, basically, mate. Yeah.
Absolutely thrown into, complete slavery. Yeah, that's what it is. And the majority of people will never earn enough.
It's enough for an existence, so that you keep. I'll stick at it. I can just get through this month. No, we don't want that.
No,
we don't want to just exist. Not here for that.
No,
we're here for experiences and beauty, love.
Absolutely. And how do you find that if you're so busy and so stressed because you're trying to find the money each month just to pay your bills, just to put food on the table for your kids? How do you break away from that? You know, so most people don't, do they? You know, and it becomes an early grave for a lot of people. That's the problem.
Of course it does. Yeah, of course. You know, I don't have children, so I guess I never had that responsibility either. So you can take that as a blessing or not. You know, depending on which way you look at it. For my own growth, it was a blessing because I wasn't.
That was what was meant to be, though, for you, wasn't it? That's meant to be for you.
Yeah, well, completely. Yeah.
But you've met Kate, obviously, in this chance meeting in an aisle in Lidl. So what do you guys talk about on that first sort of like, let's meet up together and have a walk and things like that. Are you talking
Matty's
about?
First line to me was Matty's first line to me was, "Look, I'm a really spiritual guy." That's one of the first things that comes out of his mouth when we first met. I was like, "Oh, okay, now you got my interest," because how many guys would admit that anyway to begin with? But what he didn't know at the time was that I actually manifested him, and I actually showed him a few months down the line when I thought, okay, well, this is actually going somewhere now. That I'd written down in my book what I would like to have in a relationship and what I would like to have in a man, and it was Matty all over.
There you go. There you go. So you were on
miracles
the visualization board. Matty on the visualization board. I love it. There you go. So what did you talk about? Did apart from telling her that you're spiritual and this, that, and the other? I mean, we were in a crazy period. Then was that early 2020 when it was really hot?
It was really hot because I remember exactly what I was wearing, and I was a hot mess at that day.
It was around March, wasn't it? I think because we just took on the pub, the Crown in Croston.
Oh yeah.
We signed to the pubs the day they shut the pubs, but we moved in that weekend when they shut the pubs, and it was so hot, and it was unusually hot. I found when they were locking everybody in the homes, kind of thing. It was strange weather for that period of the year. I thought quite rare.
Yeah, I remember that. It was roasting, wasn't it?
It was really very hot. Yeah, very hot. But so did you talk about? Obviously, you guys weren't wearing face nappies, so you had a common thing going on there. You were both like, well, something not right here. So did you have that conversation? Yeah. Obviously, that must have been part of the conversation. What the hell's going on around here? Like,
yeah, it was one of time.
Yeah, I can't remember much of the conversation, just apart from you saying that you're a spiritual person. And
we talked about healing a little, didn't we?
I think so.
Remember seeing an amethyst around your neck?
All right.
And that was how we started to converse because of that as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the crystal discussion.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, a little bit, mate. I can't. Do you know what? I don't really remember what we talked about when we went for a walk with the cat. We just sat and just shared energies, basically. You know.
Yeah, but you felt something though. You must have felt something quite, because you've literally. I mean, we'll get into it, but you've literally turned each other's lives around in like no time at all, like zero time. Blink of an eye.
I remember after the meeting that Matty said that he had to go and meet a friend. He'd pre-arranged to go and meet a friend. And I was like, okay, that's cool. So we exchanged phone numbers, and I was like, yeah, all right, we'll see. You know, it was a nice chat, and it both, made you feel good and whatever. So we'll see. We'll see if the message comes through or not. And then as I drove, I saw him walking across the roundabout with another girl, and I was like, oh, okay then. So wait and see. I'm going to play it cool. And an hour later, the message came through. And I was like, oh, okay then. So faith is there, and it's looking quite good. So we just kind of took it from there, didn't we?
Yeah.
But I remember feeling this is different.
Yeah, me too. Yeah.
This is something different. This is something that I can't put a word to. It's just something, and it feels right, and that it was just to go with the flow with it, which we're still going with the flow with it. But I remember definitely thinking, well, this is something a bit different, but feeling really excited by it as well. And it was nice to have the message that Matty sent saying that he couldn't stop smiling after he met me. So, and that's what I remember.
That's cool. That's lovely. So where did the discussion then to help your dad come then, Matty, and look into Lion's Mane?
In the attic.
Was it?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's when I moved, wasn't it? Oh, we need to talk about that first. So just after we met, I was looking. I needed to move house.
It's on my hair.
Okay.
So I was looking for somewhere to live, and as you can imagine, my credit rating is not very good. Like the rest of us. So it can be a struggle to find somewhere to rent, can't it? It can be a challenge.
Yeah,
Not a struggle.
definitely, yeah.
So me and Kate talked about it. I think it was the day we went for a walk.
Yeah, probably.
We talked about it in the park when the cat come for a walk. And I said, I'm looking for somewhere to live. It could be a bit of a challenge for me. And then next day, Kate bumps into somebody and I say, I know there's a house to rent. It's not even been bought yet, but they're looking to rent it. And that was in Church Stretton where Kate lived. So it was all being brought together.
Isn't it mad how the universe works? It's absolutely
awesome, mate.
bonkers.
Absolutely awesome.
Oh, I love it.
So, I think I went to look at this house a couple of weeks later. That was all it was. And it was beautiful. And Kate came with me, and the lady who was renting it to us, she went, I said, would you like 3 months up front or deposit? Or she went, no, I don't want no deposit. I don't want nothing up front. Just the first month. That's it. You seem like a lovely guy. Crack on.
Brilliant.
It was awesome.
That's brilliant.
So it's just more signs from the universe that we're going in the right direction.
I love that. That's great.
Yeah. So because I'd been living in only a small place originally when we first met, it was only like a little studio apartment. I was quite used to being in a small space. So when I moved into the big house, and it was a beautiful house, the loft was converted. So I spent a lot of time in the loft because I still had like acclimatized from coming out of a little house, if that makes sense. Yeah. So that's where we started discussing about my dad and lion's mane, and in that loft is where all of the mycelium that is Mama's cottage mushrooms grew from.
Because the cottage was actually called Mama's Cottage.
Yeah, that's where the name came. It was called Mama's Cottage.
That's what it was called. Right.
Yeah, it was nothing made up. It was purely, it was just flow, completely flow.
Oh yeah. So
that's where we grew our first lion's mane, in the garage there in a grow tent. I had to knock on the next door neighbours and say, look, come and have a look at this. I'm not growing weed, I'm just growing mushrooms, right?
What did he say?
Oh, they were all right, good as gold. Just had a laugh about it.
Yeah. So did I say, well, can I have some then?
Yeah.
So did you go in a process of actually trying this out for yourself? Obviously, you're growing it, and did you need to experience, or do you do that in terms of experiencing what you're growing?
Oh yeah, our main job is to try plant medicine. It's fantastic.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So we were eating a lot of lion's mane when we grew it, and it was just beautiful on the brain. It really just awakens you up, keeps you focused, keeps you at it. And we put that out in the local community, and it was gone because we've grown so much. We've got shitloads of it, mate, to be fair. So we put it out locally, and it was gone within a day. Literally just cleaned us out. We had another flush, gone again, another flush, and it was like, right, we need to do something with this, something different. So then we started making tinctures.
Right.
And lion's mane was the first one we made, and that was the same, gone. And it was like, right, what are we making next? So we went off in the woods foraging, come across some wood's ears. Yeah. Wood's ears, another mushroom, full of, got loads of copper in it and pantothenic acid, which is amazing on the body. Copper's one where your body really struggles to absorb it. So the more sources we can get of that, the better. So yeah, we made some tinctures of that. That didn't work out as well, did it, to be fair? But it was just part of the learning curve that we had. We started working with birch polypore because, at the time, me and Kate, we were on benefits. We were on universal credit.
Yeah.
So it was about finding things in nature to be able to make medicines to, bring a bit of financing so we could grow slowly and keep going at it and start introducing new things. And literally that's how it started. It really just started from a grow bag of lion's mane.
So was it a good period of studying together then as well? And obviously, Kate, you've come from that background in herbal and stuff. But this is new, isn't it? This is like a new area.
A lot of it wasn't study. There was study involved, but a lot of it was connection and just feeling and understanding and thinking, I've done this before. Why do I
Wow.
know these things already? Honestly, mate, it was unbelievable. It was like I was making medicine, and it was like my hands weren't mine,
Wow.
and it was just happening.
It's
And
like channeling in a way, isn't it?
it's beautiful. It is, mate. Yeah, it is. It's beautiful, and I'm still awestruck by it, mate. I really am, and always will be.
It's interesting you say that. I have a friend of mine who's done similar stuff. He's done with essential oils, and he's never looked anything up. He just makes them. He just knows what to do,
Yeah,
and he's created sort of creams to help like skin cancers and things like that. And he just channels the information. He just knows what to do.
You know, it's pure then, don't you? You know, we can all read. If you, we can go into books now or later if you like, mate, because you know these modern books, they'll teach you how to do extractions and make tinctures, but they won't teach you the real way to do it. They'll teach you the way to satisfy yourself that, oh, I've made some medicine that I can help myself with, but that medicine you haven't got all of it out. You've been taught how to just fulfill that part of you that I wanted to make that. And then you'll use the medicines and you may find that you don't get the benefits you're expecting because they're not full extractions.
Do you think that's an ego thing then? Do you think that's a satisfying?
I see it as an orchestrated game where these people will return back to pharmaceuticals then.
Interesting. That's interesting.
That's just my thoughts on it all, my friend.
No, it's interesting.
It's what I see. When we make real medicines, it's a lot deeper. It's understanding what planetary energies that mushroom or herb or tree is, because every tree or mushroom or herb has the energy of a certain planet. So it's understanding that. It's understanding at what time of the day them energies from that planet are the strongest, and that's the time to make the medicine. You know, it's so deep, my friend. It really is. Even using, you know, you go on Amazon and look for some herbs, you'll find bags of chopped herbs. Let's look at, I don't know, maybe rosemary to make a rosemary tincture. You know, rosemary is amazing for your brain. People don't realise how wonderful it is for the brain. So making a tincture of that.
I think as well with what we find as well is that there are numerous other companies out there that are making tinctures, mushroom tinctures, and it's to be not going down that rabbit hole. That's a different conversation altogether. But bring it back to what I was going to say is that the way that we work is that, yes, we're very mindful of how we make the medicine, making it, you know, very spiritually. We don't use machines when we make the medicine. Matty's putting all his intention and healing into it. But when we have customers with us as well, if we're at festivals or events, and through email, you know, there's a lot of people out there who are still looking for quick fixes. Now, the way that we work is, yes, we have the connection with mushrooms. We are by means no experts. No, people have tried to tag us as an expert, and like, we're not experts. We are just working with the mushroom energy. But also what we do is that we connect with the person who is asking the questions to see what it is that their soul is requiring. So people give us this big list of what their illnesses are, and they expect then to say, oh yeah, well, here's reishi or here's chaga, or take this and take that. And we don't diagnose. We don't say this is what you should be taking. It's always like, you have a look into this. But also quite often as well, people are looking for quick fixes. And quite often we will say, you need to go away. You need to go and take a look at yourself and go and do some healing, because all you're trying to do is try and put a plaster on what it is that you're facing is challenging right now. I've literally had an email this morning from somebody who's saying, one of our stockists saying, oh, this woman is da-da-da-da-da-da. I said, look, I'm going to be truthful with you. No matter what she takes isn't going to help her, because she's still in this I'm ill thing, because she's trying to put a plaster and not face what's actually going on.
If you're enjoying everything that we're doing here at Drake, Michigan, please subscribe, ring my bell, and let's enjoy this journey together.
But this is where plant medicine can come in, because if someone isn't able to sit in meditation or through a conversation to unpick what is actually going on, plant medicine will get straight into the ego. It will go and tackle what it is and loosen those knots up, so then people can actually see what's going on, accept it, have a sense of detachment from it as well. But then when using the mushroom tinctures, we know we've had people come up and said to us, well, it hasn't worked. I say, well, tell us some more then. So it hasn't worked because they've been necking alcohol the night before. It hasn't worked because they've told themselves it hasn't worked. It hasn't worked because they don't have the belief, or they want to say it and make a big deal about it. But, those are the reasons why the medicine doesn't work. It's like with anything, it doesn't work.
Yeah.
No, I agree. It's and that again is part of individual journeys, isn't it? I understand from my sort of process last year of self-healing, if you like, where I became exhausted after I lost the pub and whatever. It was, you've got to face some of the dark moments and the dark shadows that are there. To you got to process that stuff. You got to be able to, and that's a journey in itself, and that continues. That doesn't just stop. You don't just completely fix things. You got to go with it. But my understanding is with I've had conversations where I say ayahuasca, or in terms of other plant medicines, it's almost like a speedy option, if you like, to get to those nitty gritty and pull those necessary moments right in front of you to face it and deal with it.
Oh, yeah.
Would you?
Let's just seeing as we've got this platform to say, we're saying about ceremonies and ayahuasca as well. It's a lot of what Matty and I do. Yes, we make the medicine. Yes, we do a lot of events and festivals. A lot of what we do, though, is education. It is educating people what is happening in the world with plant medicine. Mushroom tinctures is a plant medicine because it comes from the plant, it comes from the earth, it comes from the ground, it comes from Mother Nature. So yes, it's not a hardcore plant medicine. It's still a medicine from Mother Nature. But what is happening more and more, and we hear of this quite often and people contact us, is with ceremonies. And we're just touching it really quickly because whoever listening, it might actually save their life. That there are a lot of ceremonies that are cropping up now, be it ayahuasca, be it mushrooms, be it all sorts of ceremonies. But what's happening, because it's becoming very much a buzzword now, and people who have now recognized or are having this awakening or suddenly seeing things in the world for what it really is, and they start questioning, well, I need to heal myself. And so they'll think, well, let's go down the plant medicine route, and they'll go and latch on to whatever marketing ploy there is behind ayahuasca or mushroom ceremonies and get drawn in by it, haven't asked any questions whatsoever. And they've had either a terrible experience, they've been abused, they've spent thousands of pounds, and they've got nothing from it. So, for example, we've had a customer, a guy that got in touch with us, and he wanted to go and have a mushroom ceremony, which is great. You know, mushrooms can be incredibly healing, done in the right way with the right facilitator. So off he tumbled to his mushroom ceremony, and he took 6 grams of mushrooms. This is his first time ever of having any sort of mushrooms. Now, for people who don't understand mushrooms, 6 grams of magic mushrooms is one heck of a dose for a first timer. It's a lot. Even we wouldn't even consider doing something. It's too much. But what the concerning thing is, it wasn't that. Is that facilitator said to the guy, "Well done, that's really great. Go home and take 9 grams by yourself." It's just a recipe.
By yourself as well.
That's just a recipe for mental illness and having a big breakdown. So if anybody who is watching, listening, who either knows somebody or is themselves wanting to go and do any sort of ceremony, really, 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 please do your research and ask so many questions to the point that you get annoying with asking questions. It's your health, it's your mental health. There are good facilitators out there, absolutely granted. If you're struggling to find any or none that don't resonate with you, speak to an aunt or speak to ourselves, and we can certainly point you in the right direction with the right sort of people.
Obviously, we'll put in the description your website so people can make contact with you directly. But feel free if anybody needs a question and I can speak to you guys personally, then we'll do that, because it is a buzzword.
We can all get excited about these ceremonies, and so we should. But you know, we've got to don't put the rose tinted glasses on. Ask the questions. It's your psyche. It'll blow your head apart if it's not done correctly.
100%. And the thing is, I think where. And I know from the rave scene times, you kind of overdo it. People will overdo it. They'll eat, you know, if it drink, drugs, alcohol, sex, whatever it is, people will overdo it. And my understanding with plant medicine is it's about respect.
Yeah, massively.
And also the biggest thing with any sort of ceremony is the integration afterwards. There are so many ceremonies that are happening that as soon as the ceremony is over, it's right, off you go home now. You know, when we're doing ceremony, Matty doing Cambo or me doing my ceremonies, you know, we've got support groups that are already set up, and people come and join those support groups. That whatever is going on, it might not be 24 hours after the ceremony, it might be a week after, that stuff will come up. But there's a safe place where those people then can bring it up and not think it's just a silly question, because there isn't such a thing as a silly question. You know, each question is valid because that's going on with the person, isn't it?
Of course it is. Every individual, again, that's respect as well, isn't it? The whole thing is about respect. And I think people need to respect themselves as well to ask those questions, really. That's the thing. There is fear behind asking questions because, again, during your conditioning growing up, there's peer pressures and things like that. Oh, well, I'll just do this. Oh, drink that or whatever. And you've got to kind of release that. And again, it's an ego thing. Just ask the right people. I mean, obviously, I've got to meet you guys, so I know you guys now. Whereas I've got someone to ask if I was going down that route. And someone I know that I can trust. And it is very difficult, like you were saying earlier on. Everybody's a shaman these days. Everyone's a shaman. Like, again, that is disrespectful.
Yeah, massively, mate. So disrespectful, dude.
Yeah. You can't just call yourself. It's like, it was recently my 17-year-old daughter was dating some guy. And he was only 18, 19 or something. And he called himself a shaman. I went, Mayor, he ain't a shaman. He's not.
Is she still seeing the guy?
She's got rid of him.
She's dating a wizard, man.
You know, and they're all going into the park in Wigan or something, and all taking this, that, and the other, and doing spells and stuff. So you got to be careful with this kind of stuff. You can't.
It's not to be messed with. No.
You got to respect energy.
Yeah.
Because it will bite you on the ass big time if you don't.
Yeah.
And it won't be an easy bite either.
No, not at all, mate.
So with the lion's mane then, Matty, how did that work with your dad at the time then? Did you see any progress?
He was pretty resistant initially.
Was he?
You know, my dad's 80 years of age. When I was a kid, I was taught, you know, you respect the doctor. He knows better.
Of course.
Yeah. No, that's just that generation. So he was very resistant. But he took to... Basically, I gave him a grow bag and grow bag of lion's mane. Hippie son turns up on Father's Day, basically. Grow bag of lion's mane. And a lion's mane tincture, and he looks at me like, "What the fuck have you bought me?"
Of course he will. You're not going to break that barrier down that easily, are you?
But do you know what? He proper took to growing the lion's mane and eating it. Proper enjoyed that. But the tincture was still in his fridge quite a while later. So I remember spotting it and going, "What's this then?" And he's like, "Oh, that's the lion's mane." I said, "Why is there still stuff in it? It's been long enough." So I just take it when I need it. And I'm like, no, Dad, that's the Western medicine way. Wait till we're desperate and ask for help and we'll take anything. No, we support ourselves. We stay elevated from all this disease that's around us.
Yes.
So it's took a while, but Dad's in a good place. Really good place.
Great.
And for me, it's been a big journey of acceptance of what I create. From me being a young kid and being a bit of a rebel and into everything, and my dad and mum and dad not really knowing anything about drugs apart from they're bad. So from there to a point where he accepts the medicines and the natural medicines and they help. So that's been a long journey, that, mate, and one of beauty for me to see that acceptance of what I am and what I do and my father.
The generations above us, it must be very difficult unless they've entered that world already. I can't, that breakdown of that conditioning must be incredibly tough. During the period at the pub, during the shit show, as I call it, we had people come in that were pension age, that had just woke up.
Wow.
And it's just like, wow. They're like, we have been duped all our lives. I can't even imagine what you've been doing. You're 60, 70 years of age and you've spent all your life feeding that. And then
I've got a friend who's 73. He's in Thailand now. He was in Special Forces, Police Force. He was in Belfast serving there.
Yeah.
So you can imagine the things he's done.
Yeah. Of course,
he woke up in his 70s. Imagine waking up and realizing, fuck, what have I done?
Wow. The pain. That's painful.
We went through a long time of getting him right, dealing with all that PTSD, and it was some harrowing experiences, but it had to come out. And, I had to stand there by his side and guide him through it. And
good for you, though.
It was beautiful in the end. It was beautiful what came out. But let's just say there was a lot of tears along the way. But then
I can imagine there is, because but you've helped that soul hopefully progress so much that they don't have to repeat. That awakening is painful, but to bring all that to the front. That's an amazing thing you've done there.
That's my purpose, my friend.
Yeah. And isn't it funny as well? I've had these conversations also that a lot of people feel they're on a mission right now. Individually, we've all got these little parts to play, but they seem to be combining as well.
Yeah, of course. It makes the whole. Makes the whole, mate.
It's a cog, isn't it? We're all little cogs in this.
Yeah. Yeah, but at least we're in the right wheels now, and not the other side.
But even that other side of playing their parts, aren't they? Do you know what I mean? It's all, even the ones who were sat watching Coronation Street and ignoring what's going on are playing their parts. But it's just, I think it's just the most incredible time to be alive, because you're getting tested left, right, and centre.
Yeah, massively so.
Oh God, yeah, huge tests. But if you believe in, and I'm sure you guys do, in terms of a soul contract or stuff like that, we signed up for this, didn't we?
That's what we're here for. We've got to get these contracts dealt with, and then it's time to go and play somewhere else.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Well, I need to ask you as well. So you were saying about the local community started buying off you. Were you getting any resistance from that? Because obviously people are nervous, obviously through their conditioning, fear and things like that. What are you selling, drugs, guys? What's all this?
Yeah, not with them ones, but with some of the newer, not newer mushrooms, the most recent mushrooms we work with. We get people move away from our stall.
Do you?
Oh yeah, it's very interesting, and it's usually the elder generation that do that.
Yeah,
and it's because of, let me just find you some. This mushroom here.
Okay, so what's this mushroom then?
That is fly garlic or Amanita muscaria.
Okay.
Okay, so I understand why they move away from the table. I totally understand. But you can't just take things on face value in this world, else you'll just be hoodwinked all your life. Yeah?
Yeah.
This family, the Amanita family, it is the deadliest family on the planet.
Okay.
But there's always polarity in things.
Right.
So, yeah, it can make this one ain't going to kill you. It can make you sick. But there's also beautiful medicine in there. It's got that balance inside of it, as we all have.
Yeah.
So with certain processes of that beautiful mushroom, I love this family of mushrooms. It's so dear and close to me.
Right.
With how we've helped others. With certain, I can process these in different ways to bring different medicines out. It's also the last legal psychedelic left in the country.
Really? Yeah, I didn't know.
Oh
that.
yeah, but it's not like psilocybin where it's all pretty and lovely, and it's not for that. It's for that shadow work, that deep
Is it?
work.
It brings it out.
Yeah. Oh, massively so, mate. Yeah, but me and Kate processed this into, this is its bigger brother, by the way. This is Amanita pantherina.
Mm-hmm.
That's 8 times stronger than this one. Same compounds. Yeah,
Right.
it's serious, mate. Serious medicine. Yeah. So when story of us working with that is last September, went out to my spots to pick some magics, as I do every year, and they're all gone. All gone. They've been ravaged, my spots. I can see whether there's been an ethical picker there who appreciates the mushrooms, or whether it's someone who's been watching lots of media and seen lots of mushrooms in the media and went out picking and just took everything. And that's what it was. But there's always a positive in there. And the positive was seeing one of them beauties on the way back and going, okay, universe, this is what I need to work with this year, is it? So we found a spot where there was hundreds of them. So it was like nature was shouting out, oi, you lot need this. Come on, let's have it. So we picked a load of them. And I guinea pigged myself to our community to create trust and bravery in others.
Yeah.
Which I do quite a few things. So yeah, I started. It's not something you just pick and eat. If you do that, it will make you sick.
Okay.
It really will make you sick. There's an acid in there that'll make you sick. But with certain processes, I can turn the acid into something called muscimol. Muscimol is a beautiful medicine. So I dried it the old ways, like the old shamans. The old shamans, yeah.
Yeah.
The old shamans of Siberia, the Sami shamans, would dry it in front of a fire naturally. So I did that for 3 to 5 days until they're nice and crisp, and I powdered it down then. And I just started with half a teaspoon with brew it for 33 minutes, because I do everything in 3 6s and 9s, but that's probably for another podcast, mate, to be fair.
Yeah. No, that'd be interesting to go down that side of things,
Yeah, so, and then I had a bit of citric acid in there as well for to enhance the conversion of the medicine. So I started with that, and to be fair, first couple of days was a little disassociated from the world, but not massively, just a bit internal.
Mm-hmm.
And then as my body acclimatized to the new compounds and medicines and the new spirits in me, then the magic started to happen, and I was just full of energy, really mega focused, changed my eating habits.
Okay.
It was like there was a mushroom on my shoulder while I was in the supermarket saying, no, you're not allowed that. That's bad for you. You can't have that anymore. And I'm like, yeah, but I've just had to smoke and I've got the munchies, Mr. Mushroom. It's like, no, fuck off, you're not allowed it. You're not having that. It's bad for you. It's poison. Honestly, that's what it was like. So then I'm like, well, how is this happening? So then I've got to start understanding the science, and to fulfill that other part of me. So that alchemist part of me has to know that side of it.
Yeah.
So then I start understanding. Have you ever read into GABA receptors in the brain?
A little bit. No, I wouldn't say I know enough, though.
Okay, so GABA receptors are very good at dealing with addictions and cravings and withdrawals.
Okay.
So that's why it was dealing with the cravings, sugar cravings.
Mm-hmm.
And also, I'm going to talk about my alcohol issue. I had an issue with alcohol for a long time because I was hiding away from what I was, escapism.
Yeah.
And it was probably maybe 7 years ago, something like that. I stopped drinking. Just woke up one day, something inside went, no, bad, gonna kill yourself. It's time to stop. So I stopped, but then I fell on and off the wagon over maybe 4 or 5 years, maybe a bit longer, for shorter and shorter periods. I was drinking, and then it was a month before I met Kate. Actually, I completely stopped drinking.
Really?
But then there was always still that little niggle at the back here of if there was something that stressed me or whatever, I still had that feeling to reach for a drink. That mushroom took that away from me.
Did
that
it?
last bit. And
Fantastic.
I will be forever grateful to these beautiful mushrooms for that. I really will. It released me from them chains. And just so many of us in that situation. Don't have to be drink. They're just addictions. Addictions work exactly the same way in the brain. It can be gambling, drugs, it can be food, anything. It really can, mate. And that's one of the beautiful gifts of this thing here. It's wonderful, mate. I've worked with alcoholics who've been in it for 20 years, like I was. Within a month, they're like, I detest alcohol now. I detest it. It's disgusting. Amazing. And that's a magical gift to give to somebody.
That is a magical gift. Yeah, because obviously things like alcohol and they're all low density stuff. They keep you trapped in the low density in the 3D, don't they? And it's all like you mentioned earlier on, alcohol, the demon,
the body eating spirit.
And spirits. Yeah, they don't call it spirits for nothing, do they? So,
or booze, because ghosts say boo, don't they?
They do, yes, indeed. They do. Oh wow! So talk me through more. I'm really, really intrigued because I know nothing.
What with the Amanita?
Really know nothing.
Okay, so Amanita processed in a different way. We create a painkiller out of it. Topical painkiller.
Right.
So I work with. Currently, I'm working with chaps with crumbling discs in the back, no cartilage left in the knee, sciatica, and I can't fix that. Of course, I can't. I can't fix it. We can take the pain away. We can take the pain away without blowing holes in your liver by ingesting loads of codeine, and your liver's got to metabolize it all, and it's working overtime constantly. These medicines, these things we create, we put under the tongue.
Interesting that because you've met my partner Lou, haven't you? So
of course,
she's still on fentanyl, and she has been for 8 years. 8 years, because of the pain that she's in. So that's really interesting to learn that.
Well, these ones here, I'll show you some other from the Amanita family. So these, let's get you out. Come on, matey. All right, this is regardless. That's the king of the Amanitas. That's loads stronger.
Wow.
Loads stronger. So there's even though the Amanita is strong on its own, that's the baby of the family. And that's serious. It is, honestly, mate. Wow. So this is the king, this is the queen, and then in between we've got the panther cat.
Right.
That one's 8 times stronger than the queen. God knows how many times this is stronger, mate. I don't know yet. I ain't even started playing with it yet. So, I think we can help Lou out, my friend.
Oh, yeah. Well, I'll be in touch regarding that, I think.
There's no, build tolerances up to it.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's the key. Again, it's respect, isn't it?
Yeah, massively so. Massively so. So the way we process it, so you can journey on, like I said, it's a psychedelic as well. So you can go on very deep journeys, but the way we process it, you can't. The way we put it out to the public, you can't. It says a microdose. It's for health.
Yes.
Or it's for a painkiller.
Yes.
So, and if somebody wants to be greedy and try and use it for that, it'll kick their ass.
Yeah. Because again, that's disrespectful, though. Again, isn't it?
They won't do it again. They really won't do it again, mate.
Yeah. You don't want to play with stuff that you don't know.
No, but people will. They will, mate.
People experiment.
The ego gets involved.
I've experimented loads. I know what that's like. Yeah, it will kick your ass. It's never a great experience, not when you do it that way.
No, we're working with a few other things. Cacao. You use cacao, don't you, mate?
Yeah. Okay.
So Kate is our cacao queen. So I'm going to pass you across to Kate.
Yeah,
not
please.
Cacao queen by any means. Don't label me.
You're my cacao queen.
Don't make cacao in the morning. So that's the only reason why. I think one of the main reasons about bringing up cacao, because it also enhances other plant medicines as well. It's a great carrier, which we kind of stumbled on by mistake.
Yes.
All right. Okay.
It was a very fun night.
Yeah. Yeah, it was. So it's all. So anyone who takes antidepressants needs to be really, really, really mindful about having doses of cacao because it will enhance and make them feel pretty shit, basically. Anyone who has major heart issues, anyone who's going to know they have major heart issues, because it's a vasodilator, so it's going to open up the arteries, but it also brings down your blood pressure too. So it's a again, it's a plant medicine, you know, but it's very subtle, but it can be also very powerful as well, because it's a fantastic carrier for other plant medicines too. So it's interesting with cacao ceremonies. I've been looking into, was cacao ceremony something that the Westerners just brought over and decided to monetize, which is the way that I think about things. And in fact, no, it's not. They've worked, the Mayans and the Aztecs have worked with cacao for a long time, and have used it in their own ceremonies, the plant medicine ceremonies, because it's a carrier, particularly for mushrooms, so it like doubles the effect of things as well. Yeah,
it's MAO inhibitor.
Right.
So I'll do the science bit. All right.
Yeah, do the science.
In our body, we produce DMT all the time, in the pineal gland, in your lungs, and in your stomach. Now, if there wasn't an inhibitor in the body for that, we'd be in awesome land all the time. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Right. So this MAO enzyme in the body breaks it down, breaks the psychedelics down. So that's so when you ingest it, that's the enzyme that's attacking. So like, talk about psilocybin. People don't realize psilocybin is a DMT.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. Right. So that enzyme breaks it down. But when we take an inhibitor like cacao or passion flower or Syrian rue or Capi Banastereopsis, it stops that enzyme working. So the psychedelics go a lot further and a lot stronger and a lot deeper. So that's how the cacao works with it.
That's very good. Interesting. For you science buffs listening, now you know, trust the science.
Matty is very much the figures and the science part of what we do, and the big long scientific words.
Yeah, I couldn't do that. I never like would remember any of that. But I'm glad you.
No, me neither. Not at all. That's why it works so well.
Well, yeah, absolutely. But you bounce off each other, don't you?
Yeah,
balance. With the cacao, how do you work with that? Do you drink it with milk, or what? How do you do it? There's a lot of people who run cacao ceremonies, and they will use plant milk. Either oat or almond is the best. Not dairy. Avoid dairy by any means possible. Cacao just will not like it. And coconut milk tends to make it really peppery as well. So we just use really, really nice water. We have access to water from the hills, and we just make it with the cacao with a touch of agave syrup and a touch of Himalayan pink sea salt. And if you get the ratios just right, it brings out like a salted caramel taste as well, which who doesn't like salted caramel, really? Well, that sounds nice, because it's just easier to make that way then, isn't it? Because if you're going to have to get the pan out, I suppose, and it can be. Some people will be just like, well, I can't be bothered because people are busy and whatever. And if you can,
well, that's it. But cacao has to have the respect. You know, it's a plant medicine. It has to be made in a pan. It has to have the intention. It has to have that time spent with it.
Putting the love into it.
It's pulling people out of these quick fixes again, though, mate. You know, we expect things yesterday, and things that come easy come with consequences, and that's it. They really do.
True.
It's all about the challenge.
Yeah.
But of course, in true Mama's Cottage mushroom styles, cacao wouldn't be the same without some mushrooms in it as well. So we've done our own blend of cacao with mushrooms as well. And it's got baobab powder in it as well. And it's a bloody nice drink, even if I do say so myself.
Have you heard of the baobab tree, Anne?
No, I've never heard of it.
No, it's an ancient African tree, isn't it? Ancient African tree. It's one of the really, really old ancient trees. And what it does, it sucks all its water up for the year, isn't it? In one hit. So the whole tree expands, like massively expands. It takes all its water in one hit, sucks it all up. Yeah. So it's gone huge, from what it was. And then it releases it slowly. So this is another way we work with nature. So recognizing that, what that actually does when we introduce it into the cacao, because there's an organic coconut sugar in there as well, what that makes it do is it releases the sugars slowly, the same way it releases the water slowly within the tree. So we look for similarities in nature and how it can help. It's called signature of doctrines. So I'll show you another example of it, right? So this is a reishi mushroom. Yeah. What's it look like in your body? And you've got two of them. Not these ones.
They're not your nostrils.
Kidneys.
Exactly.
Kidneys. Yeah. Guess what? It cleans your kidneys.
Does it?
So this is our nature. This is how simple nature can be, dude.
Right.
It only gets complicated when we want to feel important and we let the ego get in the way. Nature's there to show us, man. I mean, look at the colour, right? It's red.
Yeah.
Really good at cleaning your blood. It's shiny. Good on your skin. We can simplify it so much.
Mm-hmm. And is this all growing in the UK then? Where you're using everything you pick yourself, do you? Or
we pick a lot. We grow quite a bit. Certain ones we have to source. So this is chaga.
Right.
So you can't cultivate this in any way. And you get a bit of it down our way. You get quite a bit in the Highlands, but the medicine's not good enough in there for me to work with it. I won't work with things unless they're awesome. That's
okay.
it. You know, that's the rule. That's it, done. Mm-hmm. So we actually have connections in Siberia and Lithuania for this. Because the land's fertile, it's clean air, and the medicine's stronger. Right, okay. Same as the amanitas. When we're out of season here, we pick the amanitas between September and the first frost. But the muscaria anyway, the pantherina is really rare. Only fruits for 1 week a year. So it's a pretty premium rare mushroom that is for us, bud.
Could you go because there's so much here that we're never going to fit in a 2-hour session. I mean, could you give us a bit of show us each of your products and give us some sort of like what it is, the benefits to people, so people have an idea of what you do and
we'll go for a few, mate.
Yeah.
If we go for all of them, we'll be here till next week, bud. Because they've grown. We've seen each other. They've grown so much, mate. Honestly.
Oh, I can imagine. No, I can. Really I mean, it's absolutely fascinating to hear. And I'd like to
whatever comes through, bud. Whatever comes through for us to do. Like recently, I got told to make medicines for men's health, so I started doing that. Right. And then the first show we go to, and with it, somebody came to me, and it was the whole reason why I've been making it. That's why I've been told to make it a month before, 6 weeks before. And that when that circle's complete, that's like, yes, that's what I did it for. Beautiful. All right. Anyway, enough about me. Let's talk about some medicines, eh? So this one, chaga, which we just showed you. See the colour of it?
Yeah.
That's melanin.
Right. Okay.
You know what melanin is?
Not really, no. You have to
tell me. Skin protector from the sun.
Oh, right. Okay. Okay.
Yeah, it's your pigment.
Okay.
There's nothing else on the planet with more of it in than that there.
All right.
Okay.
So people who are using the sun creams, they're out in the hot sun right now when they're using something that's probably carcinogenic.
Yeah, of course they are, mate. You know, whether I'm right or wrong, but my beliefs are that the sun cream and the reaction with the sun causes the cancer. But that's just my opinion. Mm-hmm. Whether I'm right or wrong is irrelevant. But this one, so that protects your skin. We make a medicine with that tincture, charg, which you just ingest. You ain't got to put it on your skin in any way. We just ingest it and let the body do the rest. We're just giving the body a kickstart, supporting it from the inside, and then it do what it's supposed to do without being polluted. Now, when you ingest melanin, as it metabolizes in the body, if your melatonin is out, which is your master sleep hormone, it'll regulate it for you. It'll convert this into melatonin and regulate that for you. So it's not going to knock you out.
Right.
It's just giving your body a kick and going, come on, sort yourself out.
Oh, wow. Interesting.
All right.
Yeah, yeah.
It's a wonderful medicine, that is. There's a thing called an ORAC rating, ORAC, and it's about the amount of antioxidants are in something. You know, like in like chilies, you've got like a Scoville chart on how hot it is. The ORAC ratings is for antioxidants.
Right.
This has got 200 times more than like blueberries, and we call blueberries a superfood.
That's incredible.
Awesome stuff. This we work. Well, I shouldn't say that. We have customers that use this for arthritis and give us amazing feedback on it.
Really?
Absolute amazing. It reduces so much inflammation in the body, mate.
That's fantastic.
That's just a couple of things it does. It's wonderful stuff, this.
Yeah, yeah.
Wonderful. But as I just showed you a tincture, let me just talk a little about actually pulling compounds out of these herbs or mushrooms. So a lot of us are into powders and capsules because we're programmed by Western medicine to take them. Now, if you're using a mushroom powder or mushroom capsules, they're just a water extraction.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you're missing half your medicine straight away.
Yeah. Right. Okay.
Yeah. You got to do an ethanol extraction on it as well to get the rest of the medicine out. And then there's other old alchemical ways to make it a complete medicine, but they're sort of things I keep to myself, but if I'm honest with you. Because that's another challenge for us right now is people copying us.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
It really is, mate. It's happening so much. But what they don't realise is that the secret ingredient with everything we make is my mind and how I program the medicines. So
but it's also love, though, isn't it? There's a frequency.
Yeah. So it's all part of that. Yeah.
You
know, our mushrooms, they're grown surrounded by crystals, beautiful music playing for them. I tell them I love them every day. You know, that's the magic inside of them.
Yeah, exactly. Because a lot of people will take opportunity knowing that there's a market out there right now anyway, but the intention and love won't be the same. And that's the thing.
You've got no chance. I've just had an experience on the show this weekend with somebody who tried to be my best pal about 6 months ago and start picking out information at me. Do you know what? I let him do it. I rolled over and let him do it, being a people pleaser. And so we started selling mushroom powders.
Right. Okay.
On the show, which are from China, by the way. And I'll tell you what, let's talk about China while we're at it. So we're being flooded with powders and capsules from China. So, which I don't have anything against China, by the way, so let's not go there. But let's talk about a mushroom and its properties and what it does. Mushroom's 90% water. Doesn't just absorb from the soil, which can be certified organic on these products. Of course it can. It absorbs from the air. You know, when I dry these mushrooms, if I don't put them in here with some silica gel, they'll go floppy again. I'll take them out, leave them on the side, they go floppy again because they absorb everything out of the air. We know China's a polluted country and full of heavy metals. So what do you think the mushrooms are absorbing that people are selling on to others when it's all about this?
Yeah, exactly.
We're hurting each other with it. You know, it's a tech lion's mane that's helping with the brain, helping with dementia and Parkinson's and Alzheimer's, which is caused by heavy metals in the brain. These mushrooms are absorbing the heavy metals out of the pollution in China. You know, it's detrimental. We're having people come to us saying, I've been taking lion's mane and I've got mental issues from it. Can you help? So first question is, did you get powders? Yes. What did you know the country of origin? No. Can you find out? It's China. Okay, and then I explain what they've done, and they're gutted. So I just need to spread that with you, Ant.
It's important.
Because it's
important
really
information.
worrying, mate. It's really, really worrying.
People are generally just going to resource where they can, aren't they? They're going to try and get it where they can.
Many people are struggling right now, mate, with financially. So when they want to help themselves with their health, they'll take the cheaper option. But it's not the way, mate. You know, we keep the cost of these down mega, mate, compared to the mushroom companies. And the ratios, I mean, you're not going to see the ratio. There's a little number here, and it says 1 to 2 on our bottles, and that's ethanol to water. Now, as I talked before, we need ethanol to pull certain compounds out, and we need water to pull certain compounds out. But when I see ratios of 1 to 15, so that's 15 parts water, that's pure dilution of medicine.
Yeah. To
make money. And they'll put them in, you know, these are 30 ml bottles, they'll put them in like a 150 ml bottle. So because, you know, it's our eyes that seal the deal. We see the bigger bottle at a cheaper price. No, it's not the way. It's really not the way, mate.
Yeah, well, I highly recommend that people just get in touch with you with questions again.
Just come and have a chat. It's not about us selling these. We just want to educate you. If you buy off us, great. But we just want to help. Just want to help and guide. Yeah.
Well, that's it. There's a purpose. There's a purpose for your journey right now, and
you know when we work in alchemy, which is what I do.
Yes.
As I take a mushroom or a herb or a tree, and I extract its, you know, its body, its soul, and its spirit, because that's what we call them, and then we recombine it. We're purifying it, and we're making it of universal energy and not of earthly energy. Yeah. But as I'm purifying that, I purify myself inside. Yeah. So that's my journey with it.
Yeah. No, that's interesting, that, Matty. So yeah, if you can show us a bit more, because obviously you've got new things, I would imagine, on your table and benefits are always good, so people know what they would get.
Let's start with a bit of lion's mane, because that's where it all started.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, you're good with the scientific stuff.
Okay.
Anyway.
So, right, this is how we work lion's mane, so people remember. Lion's mane fixes your brain. Yeah. Right. Remember that little rhyme, and it works.
Yeah.
So, as I mentioned earlier, there's certain compounds in there that will get across that blood-brain barrier, and for the body to allow that, it's got to be pretty awesome medicine. Yeah. So it helps to repair that default network that fails when the heavy metals get into the brain. So the default network is like me moving my hands now without me thinking about it, us walking without thinking about it. We just do it. But when that starts to fail, these are the signs of the dementia and the Alzheimer's and so on. So that helps to repair it. We've had, I'll give you an example of a customer we had, Don, we still have. He was diagnosed with dementia and Parkinson's in 2014. We started working with him last year, just with lion's mane, and now he does use other mushrooms as well. Now, as he's learned what they do on his path, within a month, his wife was messaging me to say, Don can remember his old school friends' names, and that was amazing, mate. Wow. I just cried because it's beautiful.
That's
wonderful.
So good. Yeah, that's so good.
Yeah. So what else we got here? Got the chaga. It's what we were talking about beforehand. That's one we've worked with arthritis, skin protector, helps with sleep. All your medicinal mushrooms that we work with, they all have some common properties, some more than others, but they're commonalities to all of them. So polysaccharides. Have you ever heard of a polysaccharide?
No.
Polysaccharides are cancer fighters. It's a fact. There's hundreds of clinical studies on it. Hundreds and hundreds. All our medicinal mushrooms we work with contain polysaccharides, so they're all cancer fighters.
Okay.
Certain ones for different cancers, with many clinical studies to back it up. If anybody is interested in reading material regarding that, just give us a shout and we'll share the books with you.
Yeah.
Now, with the polysaccharides, they're mostly grouped together. So on average, they've got about the same in. And then you've got one called turkey tail. And that's just got absolute shitloads of it in. Now, turkey tail and reishi, so the reishi one we showed you earlier,
Yeah.
they've been licensed as cancer treatments since the 1960s in Japan.
Wow.
And guess which country's got the lowest rates of cancer?
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's so I know the plenty of fermented foods over there, which is fantastic on the stomach, which helps with cancer as well. But there's no coincidences in this world, mate. You know that.
No, there is not. No.
So Amanita pantherina, the big brother of that beauty there.
Mm-hmm.
This is my newest one to play. It's my newest spiritual friend from the mushroom land.
Yeah.
It's rare, very rare, just a week a year fruiting. So as you can imagine, it's a premium product for us, that is.
Yeah.
What it does is just wonderful. First show we brought it out at was Soul Medicine. Is that right?
I think so.
Yeah, Soul Medicine. It's a beautiful festival by us. As you can imagine, all about soul, all about medicines.
Yeah.
So this chap comes up to the store with his wife. Met his wife before on previous shows. We've helped her in certain ways. And she went, I brought him along this time. So he comes out, really nice fella, big guy, proper big guy. But I can see the pain in his eyes. I can see it. So we talked away from others.
Yeah.
And he opened up a bit with me. And he says, I've had 4 back operations. All my nerves, on crumbling discs. All my nerves are severed from the operations. I've been on 20 odd tablets a day for years. I've been in morphine for 15 years. And he says, I'm in fucking agony, my friend. And I said, all right, no worries. I said, here, have a bottle of that. Go and put some of that on the toilet. So he did that. He come back, give me the bottle. I said, just go and carry on around the festival, and just come back and, tell me how you got on. And he come back 20 minutes later and give me the biggest bear hug I've ever had.
Oh.
And he said, thank you, my friend. He says, this is the most relief I've had from pain in I don't know how long.
Wow.
And then for the rest of the day, I've got people coming back to the store going, this chap's told us about your Amanita. Can we have some, please? There's no better advertising for it than,
That's it. It's proofs in the pudding, isn't it?
Yeah. I was another show a week after, and it wasn't the Pantherina, it's the Muscaria this time. The chap next to me on the stall, and every time he got up, he was wincing. I could feel the pain in the energies coming off him. And he got no cart. So I asked him, I said, what's up, dude? What's up here? And he got no cartilage left in his knees. So same again. I went, here, go and put some of that on in the toilet. And he come back maybe 10 minutes later. He went, how much do you want? He said, that's amazing. What do you want? How much do you want for it?
Yeah. That's really good. What
just
amazing thing you're doing.
Of it, mate. I could do a whole podcast with you just on Amanita. It's beautiful, bud.
Yeah,
beautiful medicine.
It'd be actually that might be something worth doing at some point, Matty. Is we do some videos on the mushrooms themselves and educate. I think we work together on that. That'd be really good stuff to put out there.
Yeah, especially with the Amanita, there's so much fear over it.
Mm-hmm.
People are scared. Like I said, people have moved away from our stall when they've seen it.
Yeah.
And I had one old lady. She'd looked at the stall and seen the Amanita, and she was muttering under her breath, "Oh, it's poisonous, and you can't have that for healing." So I called her out on it straight away. And I said, "Can you explain to me, why you have them thoughts? Oh, it's poisonous. I've been told this about it." And I said, "Yeah, but have you actually read into it?" So I educated her on it.
Mm-hmm.
And it took me about 20, 30 minutes. And she walked away with some new knowledge and of the thoughts that she wouldn't ever do that again with Amanita now.
Well,
So my work was done in that situation for the mushrooms.
Yeah, well, that's important because we live in a world of fear, don't we? So
Yeah,
and we don't know. People are not, like I said before. Everyone's playing their own cogs in this wheel.
yeah.
And we need experts, or say not experts, but people who are connected to and have that understanding in that respect, and someone you can trust to talk to, because we don't know anything as an individual.
But and these fears, they're stopping us seeing the beauty that's behind them.
Yeah, sure.
I've just been away for 2 weeks, training in Cambo.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about this. Yeah, I was going to ask you. So yeah, go on, please.
And it's people think it's a frog venom or a frog poison from the Amazon, and it isn't. It is not a venom or a poison in any way.
Okay, right.
So that's a really big misconception we've all got about it.
Yeah.
So there's the fear for you. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
It's so the frog it comes from is called Philomedusa bicolor, or the giant monkey tree frog.
Right.
Beautiful frog, big bugger, proper big bugger it is. Right? Dead friendly with humans.
Yeah.
So think of it, the tribes of the Amazons. So let's talk about the Matsy's tribe, who really, really honor the frog in a very ethical way. They call the frog down from the trees. It's a tree. It's an arboreal frog, so it lives in the trees.
Mm-hmm.
They call it down with a song, right? But song, it's more like a funny noise, and it's like buck, 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 buck. And honestly, dude, yeah. And I sound like a chickie, mate, but I'm not fucked. Right, so, and the frogs come down from the trees, and they're just dead friendly with humans, and they'll just walk straight into your arm. There's no having to catch them, nothing like that. And then what the Matsy's will do, they'll secure the frog by its limbs in an ethical way, because there's other ones that do other things, which I wouldn't want to buy medicine off them, because that frog's been traumatized in a certain way.
Yeah.
So the medicine's not going to be good that comes out of it, in my thoughts. And then they'll massage the feet of the frogs, the Matsy's will.
Right.
And it produces this secretion that people think is a poison or venom. Now, the Philomedusa bicolor frog, it has very, very small amount of predators, so it doesn't need something to protect itself.
Right.
It's actually a sunscreen that it produces.
Is it?
Own natural sun cream. So that's what we're actually using. So the Matsy's they'll scrape that off the frog, put it onto bamboo sticks, and it dries. Then it dries solid. I've got some here actually, mate. Give me a second. So these are Cambo sticks from the Matsy's tribe. This is just protecting the medicine over the top of it. So what we do with that is that, so actually, let me tell you a bit more about what Cambo actually does first.
Yeah.
So Cambo is not a psychedelic in any way,
mm-hmm.
Even though some people think it is.
Mm-hmm.
It's actually a purgative on the body.
Right.
Yeah. So you burn. You can see these. See them?
Oh yeah.
Right. So they're called gates. So traditionally, you use a vine called the Tamashi vine to burn, but it's not like a deep burn. We're taking one layer of skin off. We'll get into the lymphatic system, the lymphatic layer.
Yeah.
So you take one layer off. It's quite white and shiny.
Right.
They're called gates. And then what we do with the stick, we introduce some water back onto it to hydrate the Cambo again. And we scrape it into little balls called points. And then we push the points onto the gates.
Right.
And now, initially, when you first have it, so you usually have a test point to see how you're going to react. Because, we're all beautiful, unique souls, so we all react in different ways.
Mm-hmm.
So you have a test point, and my experience, my first time, the test point went very warm. We got quite tingly around here, tingly in the back of the ears. So then the facilitator who's working with me, she put on another 5 dots, the 5 points. Now within maybe 2 minutes, I could feel a lot of medicine in my body, mate. I really could. I could feel it working all around here in my lymphs. You can swell with it. It swells quite a bit. We call it frog face because we're working with a frog. Yeah. So yeah, some occasions you end up looking like a frog from it. But the reason that's happening is because there's a lot of toxins in the body.
Mm-hmm.
And Cambo's is going to purge some toxins out of you.
Right.
But they've got to pass through the liver and the kidneys. So when there's a lot of toxins, the body will store them toxins in soft tissue. So that's why we swell on the face, because we're storing them toxins until they can be processed by the body.
Right.
Okay. Now, after the first, with the medicine, you've got to work with it. You've got to breathe with it. Don't fight it. Like all plant medicines, just succumb to it. Be its friend. So you've got to breathe through it. And once you get through that first initial period, that's when you start feeling, shit, I'm going to be sick here. And that's when the purge begins.
Right, okay.
Now, it's not always sick, it's out the back.
Could be everything.
I was growling, I was roaring, it comes out in many ways, mate. It really does. Now, my first experience, I purged a lot, and I was purging literally colours of my chakras as they were clearing.
Oh, wow.
It was amazing, mate. And yeah, obviously the experience isn't enjoyable, although I've actually got to a point where I enjoy it now. But initially, it's not enjoyable at all.
No.
But the way you feel after, I'll take that traumatic half an hour always. The clarity and the cleanliness of the mind is just wonderful. It really is. And that's just great. The first go. You can go so deeper with it. There's tools and techniques we can use to bring deep-rooted patterns and emotional damage. We can bring them to the surface just by us talking with each other, and then we can introduce the medicine, and then we can purge that out of the body as well. But that's really, really deep work. That's the other extreme side of it.
Yeah.
But, what a beautiful medicine it is. And if anybody wishes to talk further with me about it, just give me a shout. So
are you going to be? Is that going to be part of what Mama's Cottage Mushrooms are going to be offering now then as well?
Yeah, it is. It is now, my friend. I finished last Friday. I finished training 2 weeks of something that was life-changing for me, massively. Brilliant. It wasn't just about learning about the medicine. It was learning about myself and patterns that have been in me from childhood traumas. And,
really? Oh, that's great. That again, it's people facing and needing to get rid of, work through, I should say, those areas of life to stop repeating.
Yeah,
very important.
Just on that, I'm just going to say Cambo's actually legal as well.
Right. Okay. Right. Okay.
Because a lot of these plant medicines that we discuss, like the ayahuasca and the mushrooms and the bufo, they are illegal.
Yeah. So what's I think when I spoke to you not that long ago, I think you were doing your own festivals as well. Did you get some land or?
Yeah, we put on we did a pagan and witches event back in end of March, and I think it was was it January when we decided to do that?
Yeah, about then, yeah.
Yeah, it just suddenly came through for us to put a show on. So we decided to do it. And it's probably one of the most stressful things we've ever done, ever in every past life.
Yeah, well, we're just putting on our festival actually in the sort of the 19th and 20th of August. So we're kind of, it's a bit of a rush job, but it's going to be a 2-day event, and there's a lot of stress involved. I know. And I've done things before, but this is going to be a big event. So,
to be fair, Kate dealt with most of it. She did.
Well, good. That's the way. It's a teamwork and balance, I say.
Yeah. But it was a lot. It was a lot of work. But you know what? The energies on that day were just otherworldly. It was amazing. Beautiful to bring all them awesome people together and be the ones who created that stage for it all to happen. made it all worthwhile that day.
Yeah. Well, you've done an
Yeah,
awful lot.
awesome.
You've been together for 2 years and literally just like changed everything, haven't you? It's so in such a short period of time. I can't believe how quickly.
That day in Lidl was a huge ripple effect on this universe, my friend.
Amazing,
so we just carried on through with that initial feeling that we had.
So what's going to be your plans for the future? Where do you want to go with this and take it? Do you want to take it further? You're happy where it is, and what's your plans?
It's not really for us to decide, and it's what the universe has in store for us. You know, Matt has already said many a times of where he'd like to go, and I said, well, how can you say that? Because it's not for us, for the gift and the connection that we have. You know, it's people have said to us, oh, you need to make a business plan. I'm like, well, why do I need to make a business plan? Because I never know who's going to come past our stall and have a conversation and change our world again. You know, there's been many a time when people have come past and the collaborations that we've done have taken us into different directions. You know, meeting you and doing this right now, unless we've gone to the festival, you know, we'd never met you, we'd never be doing this. We never know who's going to be watching and listening and going, you know, makes sense to them. So who knows, you know, there's, you know, for me, I've also got the children to consider. They're only 12 and 9, so they're still very, very young. And, you know, supporting them going through what they're going through within the business itself, who knows? You know, Matty's just started doing Cambo, so he's going to be going off and doing ceremonies and one-to-ones by himself and seeing where that takes him. I'm starting to do cow ceremonies, so I'm doing that. And then we're coming back together then to do Mama's Cottage Mushroom and doing the business side as well. So who knows what else is going to come forward and who's going to come into our lives and elevate what we do even more. It's quite I'd like to have a crystal ball sometimes just to have a bit of an inkling of an idea of where I'm heading to, but then do I really want to know? I don't know. Yeah, I do want to know. No, you know.
Well, let's just think about what we've done in the last 2 years, yeah?
Yes.
So what can we do in the next 2 years? You know?
Exactly. I mean, that's just going with the flow, isn't it? You've just gone with the flow. The universe is going through, and you're just riding that wave through, aren't you?
Yeah.
It's a beautiful way of doing it, and it's, you know what, it's a beautiful way to end this podcast for part 1, I reckon, because we need to dive a bit deeper into more of the medicine. I'd like to work with you on that at some point. That'd be really good.
Awesome.
But thanks for your time today, guys. It's been lovely to see you both.
My friend. And you, bud.
I've got another meeting to go to now.
Well, enjoy the rest of your day. And I know you're going to be doing a lot of festivals as well through the summer. So
we're out every weekend, mate. Every single weekend until, let's have a look. We've got a weekend off at the end of July. And then the next one's October. And there's 3 total until December. That's it.
Shows you how busy your things are for you. And if anybody's watching and wants to see where you guys are, then I think you've got a calendar on your website, haven't you? So
there's an event page on there, bud.
Yeah, and there's a shop on there as well if you're having a look. And
online shop, and you know, we've got a lovely Telegram community as well.
Yes. You
know, anybody needs anybody's out in the wild, they want to send some mushroom pictures in, they want to identify them in, chuck them in the group. If we don't identify them, there's loads of awesome souls in that group who just love to support everything we do. It's a lovely family in there.
Fabulous. Well, we'll make sure in the description below that the links are in place so people can contact you.
Okay, so thank you.
Thank you very much for your time.
All right, brother.
And thank you for what you're doing as well. All right, guys. You take care. Lots of love.
Thank you, brother.